Welcome to the Suicide Monk, Quincey, um, professional athlete, and now an advocate for mental health. So he's got a heck of a story, and he has been an advocate for my life in the recent months, and been there and made space for me. So, welcome, Kyle. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your upbringing, and then venture into your professional career a little bit, and then let's get on to the things that really took you where you're at today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I grew up in a small town, hour and a half north of Toronto, and I came to the States in 2003 when I was drafted by the Detroit Red Wings, and I went the major junior route. So I grew up pretty quick, playing professional hockey since I was 16 in Ontario, and then eventually moving down to play for the farm team for the Red Wings in 2005. Was in Detroit for a couple of years. Won a Stanley Cup in 2008, which was really cool, and being on that amazing team for those years. And I went to LA, where my career kind of started to take off, and got some opportunity in LA, and then I got traded to Colorado. I was 24 years old, and the timing was perfect. I was, wanted to stay in Colorado. I didn't want to go to LA. It was too much fun. Back home, I was kind of done living with my parents, and so I stayed in Colorado and haven't left. Absolutely love it. And
That's beautiful.
yeah, we live in Inglewood, Colorado, and have a place in Vail, and obviously the ranch.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's me on the foot for. Okay, thanks, buddy.
Ha ha
Keep
ha
talking. See you in a sec.
ha.
So from Colorado, I got traded back to Detroit for 5 years, and then at the end of my career, like a lot of people do, they bounced around a bit, just to try to hang on for dear life my career. But I went to Jersey, Columbus, and Minnesota, and then I actually finished in Finland. Training to go back after that season, I had another concussion, which was in the 15 to 20 range, and I'm lying in a river after I knocked myself out on a mountain bike, and I'm like, I think this is it. So I went home, and Rachel, my wife, just said like, I think you're done. So I was a lot of people don't get to pick how they leave the game, but
Right,
mine
right.
was through injury, and just understanding the damage I was doing to my brain with all the concussions and all the trauma. Um, so I left the game uh, in 2019, and
And how did that? Because at this point now you've left all the things that, like security, family, teammates, basically coaches, things that you've been in doing since you were young, and now it's kind of, you're not in it anymore. So how did that?
well, yeah, you kind
Where
of
did
have
that
a
take
mental
you?
clock, right? So every September was training camp, and the first September that I didn't go to training camp was really a different thing, right? It was like, wow, this is different. Okay, so I'm gonna give myself a year or so to heal all my injuries, shoulder, back, and the post concussive symptoms. And I was gonna be a stay at home dad, and that sounds great on paper, but that's one of the hardest things I've ever done. Having two kids under 2 years old, both in diapers, and then my one kid got sick. So it was that was a lot. And again, like you said, like losing the locker room and losing my community. I didn't lose them, but I didn't go see them every day, right? So I felt
Right,
like I was
right.
isolating, and I felt like I was having all of these things that were going on would be on my own. I was doing it by myself, but that's why the alumni and the getting that accountability network back and getting to see those guys, my fellow brothers, as much as I can, And that is what I did. That was my first mission out of hockey, was to really help the Avalanche Alumni Association, which is a 501c charity that helps
Mm.
grow the game of hockey, raise funds, and accessibility for the game of hockey throughout Colorado. But there's a mental health aspect to it, of bringing all the ex-players together just for the things we just talked about. Check on each other, make sure they're
Right.
good.
Yep.
Being in that locker room is very healthy. It's a needed community. So when I was going through my problems with my son, it was the first week of COVID also. So my family in Canada couldn't come down. Even my best friends were scared to come within 6 feet of me. And it was the first time I really needed a hug and really needed my support system, and it wasn't there. So that really, black and white, showed me how huge and vital necessary community is. And I think we'll touch on it later, but that's a big pillar of the ranch. So yeah, we moved to Philadelphia and for the chemo and the radiation and the surgery. And
So what was your son's diagnosis?
he had ependymoma, brain cancer. So he had a tumor.
Ependymoma?
He had a tumor that was wrapping around his brainstem, and it's called ependymoma, which is where that was located.
How old?
The only
How old
way
is your son?
my son's 5 right now. Yeah.
So it was
his first birthday. All this happened on his first birthday, and it was April Fool's. So I don't know what kind of joke it was, but it wasn't very funny.
Right. Yeah, that's not funny.
But you know what? He's doing great. We're all better for it. I think we'll touch on this a little later too. But
okay, I was gonna
perspective, right? You look at things a little differently, and some things just aren't as serious as others. And then when you're gonna put in that situation, you really don't know how strong you can be. But he's amazing. I think he's better for it. Our family's stronger for it, and I have a very different perspective on life in general, and giving people grace and all of those good things. But he's doing good. He starts kindergarten tomorrow, so
that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's awesome. That's good news. I'll bet that was one hell of a fight, though, for you and your wife.
It's funny. I got an email yesterday from a dad that wrote a book about leukemia and his son and hockey, and they asked me to forward it or write something on the cover, some words, and I read the book quickly this morning, and it brought back a lot of that emotion. And as men, we're very good at stuffing those down, and but it brought up a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. Just bring you back to some of the waiting rooms and those emotions you had going through that time. But
what's the name of the book? Do you know? Do you remember?
It's I don't, but I will.
Yeah, if you could get it to me,
I'll put it on the. It's like, yeah, it's a funny title, but I'll we'll plug that in the.
Yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, continue with. I forgot where we were.
Well, we're 2020, 2021. So we get back from Philadelphia. Yep. We did a 30-hour surgery, and the only way out was to get every single cell of that tumor out of the, out of his body. We hit him with 30 days of radiation. The last day, we rang the bell, and he climbed up the rocky stairs, and we got on a flight home. And all of those issues I was dealing with, I was in prime time depression, loss of identity, loss of purpose, TBI symptoms, mood swings, and I had to put all of that aside and be the rock for the family and move the family to Philadelphia in the middle of the riots and COVID and chaos. And then when I got back, I finally got to take a deep breath and kind of, you know, put my mask on first. And I had a hockey friend that used mushrooms to save his life and really get better. And he brought me to to a ranch in Longmont, and I did my first hero dose, and it's changed my life. I got my power back. A lot of my symptoms were gone, and I felt like I was firing on all cylinders for the first time in a long time.
Mm.
So you have my purpose was with the alumni to really make sure the guys were good, and then taking care of myself. Um, and I'm like, I found it. I found people need to know about this modality, this
Right.
you know this technology of the mushrooms. And so fast forward a year later, um, we I bought the ranch up in Crawford, Paonia there, and once we settled in, the land just spoke to us that there's so many people in my network and people around that were just hurting. Mental health was a real issue, really coming out of COVID. A lot of my brothers coming out of the game, leaving the league, wounded and without not much answers. And then I started coaching and fundraising for a military hockey team and learning about those guys. And it's like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
we're more similar than when we're not. And it just happened to be that the ranch, just spoke to us that it needed to be a place for people to come and learn and heal and educate themselves. So that's what it is. That's what we're doing, and that's how it came about. Very organic, and bought the ranch not for this at all. It was just for a place to kind of a sanctuary. With
Yeah.
all the chaos with COVID and all that, we have it's just beautiful, expansive. We have water and amazing land to grow on and all that good stuff. So
Yeah. And the view is amazing. I mean, I watched one of the best storms I've ever seen in my life the other night. It was great.
yeah, you get to experience it. I'm jealous. I get to come up there and work for 4 days and then have to come back to the family. But
Yeah.
it's a really special place and it's hard to leave. So
Yeah. Well, good. So you think the mushrooms have helped with the TBI? You think it's
without a doubt, yeah.
that's incredible.
If you look at all the research and all the data, there's it's known that mushrooms help with neuroplasticity and generating new neurons. And I had damage. I had 20 concussions, like full, like big
Yeah.
trauma that I learned and educated myself what that was and how to kind of go about fixing it. And because I wasn't taking the diagnosis of, yeah, you're going to have CTE and you have dementia and early on Alzheimer's, just a matter of when. And with all that trauma that I was dealing with, it could have been a lot sooner than later. So I decided
Right.
to take it upon myself and educate myself and surround myself with very smart people, doctors and people that have been doing this. And I decided to, be brave and be a big part of my own recovery. And I started down the psychedelic path. Um, I went and sat with Navy SEALs and did um, Wachuma cactus, which is amazing. I tried. I got a lot of healing out of 5-MeO DMT, the toad, the organic, uh, and just sitting with elders, listening and understanding what was going on and how to heal, and had a lot of confidence and faith in that, and just had a really good band of brothers to really take care of me and take me under their wing. I'm very grateful for that. And then just teaching me how to pay it forward and do the same thing for others. So
Yeah.
that's my new mission, is to kind of kind of have a place for people to come and educate them on this technology. And as you know, it's a little different than the traditional mental health system we have
Yeah.
going right now.
Yeah. Yep. And there's this aspect where um, you got to come to fight. You got to come to fight for your life, and then that's where real change happens. And you're faced with it whether you want to or not. So you know, um,
Who's that?
You can say hi.
ha,
That's Britain. You want to say hi? This is Axel.
hey, how are you, buddy? What's up, Axel?
He can hear you. Can you talk?
What are you doing today? You out playing?
One more day of summer before kindergarten.
Yeah. So, and how else did it has it changed you? Because you said you were like, I had mood swings and all this, and that was probably due to the traumas and obviously stress from what you were going through with your son. And
I would say it gave me my power back to control these
talk
things,
about that.
right? So,
That's a huge thing right there.
so you know, our society and definitely our culture I came from and the hockey culture, alcohol was my main coping mechanism. Was dealing with a lot of pain, so anti-inflammatories and opioids, and it was easy just to get into that cycle of those things. So after the ceremony and the medicine, I started down a plant-based way of healing, and that just has been game changer. So I control the drinking. I learned to use everything with intention.
Hmm.
So I think the biggest thing was just power, and I got to understand how powerful I can be,
Yeah.
how I can heal myself with these medicines are reminders how powerful I am. I am the medicine, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So these concepts were so foreign and not even spoken about before the ceremony and the journey. But going through that, you get to, like that's the benefit. That's the reward of understanding these things now, and then you have them forever. You're not going to feel amazing every day, but you have the power to be okay. What is this teaching me? You don't get the light without the
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
Um, Take a deep breath. Use your breath. Use all these tools you had, but I wasn't using them. I wasn't tuned on. I was tuned out. I was numb. And in
Yeah.
hockey, I
That's
needed to be that
yeah.
way.
That's my next question is what is your maintenance program? Like, what do you do to maintain
So I use
that forward
microdosing.
movement?
So
Okay.
um, I use lion's mane and turkey tail and a bunch of functional mushrooms with zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 grams of psilocybin, and I do that probably 2, 3, 4 times a week in the mornings, and I'll try to do 1 or 2 low doses a week, which will be golfing, skiing, whatever the season is, going for a hike, going for a walk, and getting a gram or gram and a half, and that's like a little mini reset for me, and I feel amazing the next day. So it is, and again, it's medicine. It's also fun. I use it in a recreational way, but I know it's healing my brain while I'm doing this, right? So
Right.
I'm
Yep.
supplementing cannabis and mushrooms instead of booze.
Right. Yeah.
So I've had my relationship with alcohol. My dad taught me everything in moderation, and I thought I was very good at it. I was doing a COVID test, and they said, "What? How many drinks do you have a week?" And I never got drunk, but I was well over 100 drinks a week. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's sustainable. So understanding that and then using the
Mhm.
mushrooms and the cannabis with intention, right? So I just switched my coping mechanism to those things in a really intentful way to optimize my performance and my overall health. because
Right.
I just started listening to myself, and you really don't know how bad you feel when you feel bad all the time, right? And then when you kind of get
You're
off it,
right.
because after a ceremony, you don't have that urge, or it's almost like I don't. You see it for what it is, the truth, and you're like, I'm not having a drink. And then it's a week, then it's 2 weeks, then it's 3 weeks. So wow, I feel great. And then
Yeah.
what happens? You go for dinner and you have a couple glasses of wine, and then you wake up the next day and it's your body reminding you, wow,
Yep.
like
Yep.
this is poison.
Yep.
So I needed to go down that road to understand that. And everyone's journey is different. And my journey, that's just how I got there, right? So now sitting here, August 13th, 2024, I'm very different than I was 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
And so that microdosing also helps with the neuroplasticity to continue, which is, that maintenance program as part of it. And then
exactly. So, yeah,
you also, what do you do for your body and your food? Like, what is something that, like, it's not just one thing,
no.
that it's mind, body, spirit. Like,
So
so how do you
for
maintain all that
for my
stuff?
mental health, I work out, right? So I'm on the Peloton, and that's that's for my mental health. Yeah, it's probably good for my physical health, but mentally, I need to do that um, for me to function at the best level. I intermittent fast, so I don't eat till 11 noon. So my window. I love breakfast. I have breakfast every day, but my breakfast is at noon.
Hmm.
And then just research. Like it's like for me, I love practicing, right? So like I got really good at hockey or golf or whatever I was trying to do. But right now, I feel like we have the access to like the manual for this meat suit we have, and podcasts, and all these doctors are sharing their knowledge, and I'm just trying to absorb it.
Right.
It's pretty amazing, like this wellness, um, thing we're doing right now as a society. I think people are interested in their health, and it's almost like a pendulum. The the pharma and the sugars and the fats and all of these things and all of these mistruths we've been told for all these years, the pendulum is swinging so far the wrong way that it's going to come back, right? So we needed to get that way to educate ourselves. Okay, there's a different way, right?
Right.
We need to take it upon ourselves. The government, the doctors, they're not going to heal. They're not going to be healthy for you. You have to learn, educate yourself, and actually go do it. And the benefits are amazing because you know if you could just go to the grocery store and eat, the stuff that they have there, you're going to be sick. So now you have to educate yourself of what to eat, why. But once you do that, you're tuning into this amazing technology you have in your body, and you'll feel like a superhero. Like
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. So I needed to feel, my journey. I had to feel a certain way to understand how good I feel now, and to keep going, right? So, and then educate
Yeah.
people on these different ways they can do it.
What would your wife say about you from then to now?
Oof. I think like patience, more
Mm.
compassion. Um, I say with the TBIs, I had a really short wick. I had a really short
Yeah.
fuse.
Yeah.
And now, my day to day, seeing and really relating to people. I don't judge. I try not to judge people at all, because everyone's got things going on. A lot of the people that come to the ranch and really get to connect with and really relate to, obviously with my son and the hockey and all these different things, I can relate to a lot of the population, and I feel deeply for their traumas because I'm still,
Yeah.
dealing with all that stuff. And but yeah, I think probably patience and more compassion.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So what do you see long term for the ranch? You haven't really mentioned the name, so I mean, I'm wearing the hat.
The
You're wearing the
the
hat.
Do Good Ranch. Yeah, an
Yeah.
elder taught us to do good, have fun, and be successful in that order. So that's what we're doing. We're definitely doing good, man.
Yeah.
We're having fun, and we got to figure
Yeah.
out the successful part. But we're definitely um, we're enjoying the process, and it can get a little stressful sometimes because there's a huge need for this. But we're in a really cool spot being in Colorado. It's coming online here in 4 months, and we're going to learn a
Nice.
lot. It's like the Wild West of mental health right now. But like I
Yeah.
said before, like definitively, pharma doesn't have the one tool they have isn't working for this mental health. It does an amazing thing for ER and other things, but for the mental health pandemic that we're in right now, there's not a doubt in my mind that the answer is psychedelics.
Right. I
So
would totally agree.
now that we're trying to figure out, with the government and the Western medical model, how do we kind of put all these new, sorry, they're not new concepts. These are tens of thousands of years old,
Yeah.
but how do we fit this technology into the society and the Western medicine model? That's what they're figuring out right now, and
Education.
it's kind of a wait and see kind of deal. But Colorado has given us you know a green light to operate in these different models. So I'm so privileged to live in Colorado and have
Yeah.
uh, have the opportunity to help people. And again, we're educating and we're giving them access, but they're the ones healing themselves, which is really
Yeah.
cool. It's
Yeah. It is.
it takes a lot of bravery and courage because when you come here, but the reward is massive. So what I do every day is try to educate people and explain that this is an option for them and give them hope. And
Mm.
it's a beautiful thing. And then they have to take the next step of committing to the journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the ranch, right?
Yeah.
We came with a 5,000 square foot shop that you're sitting in right now that we put
Hmm.
in. We
Oh,
put in a lot of infrastructure, made a mezzanine and some bedrooms up there. There's also a beautiful kitchen area that we come together for meals, and the meals up there are a lot of foraged mushrooms from the Grand Mesa,
hmm.
elk or deer from our land or surrounding neighbors, and it's just getting back to as part of the mind, body, and spirit
Yeah.
is nutrition, right? Is eating, just simplifying and eating things that are from the earth, organic and actual food, and you'll just feel amazing. You put premium fuel in the machine, you're gonna get premium things out of it, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
teaching people that food is medicine and looking at that as that and intention, right? So if you're eating amazing food with intention, it's a beautiful thing. You're gonna be healthy for it. So we also put up some geodesic domes for people to stay in when they come out here because the
Hmm.
first year or two there was nothing. We got that beautiful bus outside, but
Right. Right.
the demand for people to come up and heal was increasing, and we needed to quickly get some places for people to stay. So
Yeah.
we had Tyler, our ranch manager, who is he came to build one thing, and now he's got a long list of things to build, and
Right.
it's a beautiful partnership. And he adds a lot of amazing things to the ranch, security and his expertise in building, and he's just a very safe, welcoming presence for everyone that's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, when you did your first when you were first introduced to this, did you have a group? Did you do it in a group setting?
It was three of us. It was Ariana Grande's assistant and my hockey buddy.
Nice. Um, but you've done it in groups? You have, yeah.
I've always done it, everything in groups, yeah. And again,
So,
it comes back to the community aspect of it.
mhm.
Sitting there with that cup in your hand, and you're everyone's scared. That fear is normal, and it's part of the journey, right? But I relate it to like counting down the clock, like almost like in Madison Square Garden when you're going out to play to the Rangers, and the only people you have around that are on your team are the 15, 20 guys in the dressing room. And at that point, you're like, okay, I'm relying on you, and I'm going to do my job. Everyone does their job. We'll be fine. So, and that's what I miss the most from the game, and
Mm.
but that community, that locker room, that accountability network. It's so beautiful seeing these cohorts come together and the bonds, and people are helping each other for months, years later. If it's business, if it's just a support system, accountability network, it's a huge part of what we're doing, and it's from my background with the locker room, it's a needed thing, and even if we're doing it for we're building the cohort online before we come, and then for those 3-4 days, just watching people bond together, it's so beautiful, and they keep that together going forward, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I've built some really cool friendships out of this, that I stay in contact with on a daily basis. So it's been interesting. Um, you lose everything to gain everything, kind of. Well, at least I did.
Mm-hmm.
uh, what about is this with your observation and knowing the professional sports and having friends in football and other sports? Is this like an epidemic? Does this in the sports
Well,
when guys leave?
so my dream of what I eventually want to do. First off, I want to make everyone know that this transition, even if you sell a company for $1 billion, you've been doing something for 10, 20 years. Okay, so like I want everyone to know about the transition out of the game, out of the league, out of the special forces, out of
Hmm.
business. You have been doing something, and your identity is part of that, right? So you've gone to that hockey rink for for me, 30 years. I've had a coach and a team since I was 5 years old. And all of a sudden at 34, they say, thank you for your service. Good luck. If you go in and you built a company from scratch, then you sell it and it's a huge payday and everything's great, right? Well, you've built an identity, and that's your baby. That's your company that you've built. And all of a sudden, it might happen in 3 months, 6 months, a year, that you feel that's that transition, that loss of identity, that loss of purpose. Well, that is a thing. So, and I'm a big believer, and that's the reason why we have a huge problem with the suicide in the military and the first
Mm.
responders, and even my brotherhood. So, understanding that that's a thing, and it's okay to not be okay. It's okay
Right. Yeah.
to say, okay, I've done 20 years in the service, or I played 15 years in the NHL. I'm gonna I'm gonna take on. I'm gonna go to retreat for 4 days and figure some things out. So
Yeah.
I
A
would
lot.
love, my dream is
Yeah.
to have the ranch as a model, almost like a transition program for everyone that comes out of the league, out of special ops, out of the military, as a first responder, and you're learning the tools to thrive in your second half of life. I had one of the best jobs on the planet, but I don't think I should have to sacrifice my whole life because of that. So I think it's possible
Right.
to have an amazing job if you're a special ops, if you're playing in the NHL or NFL, and understanding these things, right? So understanding what TBI is. Like what does a concussion do, and what is the trauma in your brain, and how do these medicines that we're talking about, how can that help? Why do I have these different things with the transition. Why, like, the loss of identity, loss of purpose, this community. Why am I feeling like this? All right,
Right.
well, you need to get back into the community. Yeah, you got to stop isolating yourself. Get around your people more, right? And then there's all the nutrition stuff. There's sauna, cold plunge. There's yoga, breath work, meditation. All of these tools that don't cost anything. They're in you.
Right. Right.
So again, education, access, community. I want to educate these people. I want to provide access to these things, and I want to provide the community for them to thrive. So again, my dream, putting it in the universe, is to build a model, like, called the do good method, for when guys are coming out of transitioning, out of, C-suite, if it's a divorce, if it's um, leaving the league or leaving the service, that there's a place for you to come and heal, but also educate yourself on how to thrive in your second chapter of life.
Right. So really available to everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. We've seen huge success with the military guys and the TBI people, just like
Mm-hmm.
me, and the first responders getting their power back. But this is for
And
everyone.
people like me.
Exactly.
I'm dude, I'm a story.
Yep.
Like, it a huge success story. Going from days away to it's not even on my radar. It's just floating away now. Can't even seem to find it.
Or even, like,
You know,
I remember being, like, the first year, being on the couch at 2 o'clock, and being stay-at-home dad, and really not counting down the hours almost, right? Like, during COVID. And then now it's like, there's not enough time in the day. I have so much
right?
life to live. I'm
Yeah,
the opposite way of, I have so much shit I want to do. I don't have enough time to do it.
I
So,
know. Yeah, it's like you're on your brain's going fast now and the train's going slow. It's like you just have to enjoy the ride. You just don't
exactly.
have a choice. And
Exactly. Enjoy the
but
ride.
it's a cool ride, and it keeps you centered and at peace, and just look out the window once in a while. And
Yep.
it's awesome.
Yep.
Um,
And again, you just want to share it, right? And I think that's what we're doing right now.
yeah,
Is
it's huge.
being this is attraction, it's not promotion, right? So just keep living the life that is true, and the path, and people will be like, what's going on? You look great. You're only 39 years old. You're only 40. What's going on?
Yeah,
Like, well, I found these things that have been really helping me, and healing. And if you're willing to learn and do some work, I'd love to show it to you. And
yeah,
that's pretty much what it is. And you know, in the ceremony, it's the truth, right? The medicine just kind of shows you the truth. And sometimes you
yes,
get off your path and you lose your compass, and you just need a reminder. And that's what this is.
yeah,
It
yeah,
is reminding you how powerful you are.
yeah, and it allows you to do work post that you wouldn't have been able to do prior to, and maintain that momentum.
Mm.
I found part of that, though. I'm also microdosing. Um, and I think that neuroplasticity is like, it helps that continuation of that neuroplasticity to keep me moving forward. Because, I had a tumultuous, like, tormented thought process. And I mean, you saw me. I was like, don't even save a spot, bro. And
So you have
you're,
so you were stuck in a pattern, right? What
yep.
the medicine does, it shatters that pattern,
Mm,
and you're malleable afterwards with the neuroplasticity. So you have the opportunity after a ceremony to create new patterns,
yep.
right? And that's what you're doing right now.
Yep.
So, like, we can say it in a spiritual way, we can say it in a scientific way, but
Yep.
but in reality, is like, you are a perfect example of someone that was stuck in a very negative loop, in a very negative pattern, where the medicine kind of shut that down for a day, and it was like, all right, like, that didn't serve you, so let's start another pattern, and let's get on Just got on the right one here, and I can
Yep.
tell it. I can see in your eyes, man. You're glowing compared to
Oh,
where you
dude.
were 2-3 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
I'm a happy man.
Yeah.
I'm a happy man.
And I remember
Is it?
sitting with you and like Ben asking me to come sit with you, and like the one thing that I kept saying and wanted you to like, there's hope. There is something out there that I want you to try before you try anything else, or
Yep.
or make a decision that you can't come back from.
Yep.
Just try it. This is a thing, and you're
It is.
living proof of it working. And
Yeah.
there's hundreds of people just like you that have come through the ranch that have their stories are amazing, like
Oh,
amazing, right? And
incredible.
I know you're going to Telluride Mushroom Festival to document some of them,
Hmm.
but
Hmm. Actually,
what you're doing
I,
with this, with the podcasts and things to highlight these stories are needed, right? So
yes.
people need a success story.
Yeah. And awareness and education. I mean, it's huge. It's vital, I think.
Yeah,
It's time to turn the tides.
yeah,
And, uh, kind of doing this and being able to join, with Jeremy on the mycology side and learning the mushroom and how it's grown and how well it's taken care of, and how to cultivate that. That's another learning process for me that will be valuable for people like me or like you,
mm-hmm.
or those first responders or, military.
Yeah.
And
Like this is
as,
the very tip of the iceberg, right? So we're gonna have to
yes,
try to hit this from every angle. Like, yes, we have the anecdotal stories and the
yeah,
testimonies, which you're helping immensely with starting this and documenting. There's some amazing people, like our alumni. I get so happy when we all get together again and keep that community strong
yeah,
because like you get stuck in your bubble, right? Of like, yeah, hanging out with the hockey guys or people around the neighborhood, but then you open up to some of these like the military people, like oof, and like
yeah,
when you're in that ceremony together, you're so tight, and like the bond is so amazing, man. 6 months, a year later, you just kind of get right back to that spot, and the community we're building, I'm very proud of.
yeah,
And you're going to highlight a few of them on here.
yeah.
And again, hopefully you have some time because there's a lot of great people that have an amazing story to come through here, and they're growing every other week. There's more people coming through. So
I know.
my
It's
focus
great.
right now is to really just kind of nail down the foundation of what we're doing in our language and all of these things. And then 2025, we have the opportunity to hopefully help a lot of people in a really safe, functional protocol. And then I love to share it with other people because we need thousands of people to open up other do good
Yep.
ranches all over the state, and the next state that comes online, and the next one, because, like you said, this is for everyone. This is not
Yeah.
for specific people that are doing a specific thing. This is for optimization. This is for overall health. This is for the transition people. This is for every single person because
Yeah.
really what you gain is perspective, and your consciousness widens, and
Yeah.
you get to it's just such a beautiful thing. You're more patient, you're more forgiving, you're more grateful. There's more love in your life.
Hmm.
Like I like to talk
It's a
about the
paradigm
optimization
shift.
more, right? Like I get
Yeah.
stuck talking about, yeah, I had a TBI and I got my power back through this medicine, but like I was operating at like a 4 out of 10. Now I'm like 9 out of 10, right?
Man,
And
that's
it's
awesome.
and it's I'm performing at a very high level, trying to start these companies and figure out this brand new company in this brand new industry and how to navigate all these things. Um, and I think I know no way I could do this without that reminder of how powerful I could be.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So can you purchase microdosing now? I mean, is that
So in
possible?
Colorado, we're allowed to gift, gather, and grow. So what what I do is I have a consulting company that I'll sit down with someone and educate them on all these things, right? So pretty much all the stuff we talked about, over
Hmm.
an hour or two, and 24/7 they have access to me. Um, but then I create the access to that medicine and,
Oh,
connect the
nice.
dots if they need it and just tell them how to get it. But yeah, people are paying me for the education and tell my story
Right.
and
Right.
educate them on these things. And then they get the medicine as a gift
Right. Right.
through, the different ways they get it. But that's the beauty of being in Colorado. They've kind of given us
Yeah, that's a
it,
nice model.
it's a gray area.
Yeah.
They're cracking down on people at advertising. So again, it's
Mm.
if you don't know, you don't know. It's through a very small network of people that know me. But there's
Yeah,
enough people there that, like, so many people need this, and
I
it's
know.
almost 100% success rate of people saying thank you.
Yeah.
Um, and this has helped me get off of pharma, or I don't take Adderall anymore. I'm sleeping better.
Yeah.
I'm working out better. I have more energy. I have more love and compassion. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. Um, and then again, I'm taking this in a like I don't look down on the recreational side because I've been there and I am there. That I rather my family and my friends and myself take a very intentional dose of microdose or a low dose instead of the opioids or
Right.
the booze because like
Right.
I'm still in pain. I still have my shoulder and my back that I deal with daily, but I use cannabis and mushrooms to decrease my inflammation and my food, right? I'm
Right.
eating good food, so I
Yeah.
don't have that. So, um, yeah, what I'm focusing on now is just educating the people that are willing to listen, and then just connecting dots with access to these things that can help, and just trying to tell my story in a truthful way. And if people it resonates with people, they can give it a try.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome, Kyle. Any closing words? Any advice for or suggestions for people that you would give?
Yeah, just educate yourself. Like if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, just kind of
Hmm.
take some inventory of what's going on. Is it food? Is
Yeah.
it is it are you working out? Is it mental health status that there is hope. There's other technologies and modalities for you to try, and we're in a very cool space in 2024 in August right now that we got Oregon that's online.
Yeah.
Colorado is here, and it's gonna the full blown license model will come through in early January. But there's places like the ranch and Peru or Mexico or whatever is called to you.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
educate yourself on these things, right? And they're
Yeah.
true. It's real. I'm a
Yeah.
living example of someone that's gone down that journey and continue to do so, and I'm better for it. 100%, not a doubt.
That's awesome. That's great, man. Well, Kyle, thank you for being here. Kyle Quincey, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate everything. We'll put some links in the pod and down below, and you know, if you guys want to check out the Do Good Ranch, you can do that, and then we'll put the book on there and some other things that might be good information.
Right
So,
on.
yeah,
Thanks,
thanks,
Brendan.
buddy. I really
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.